Hey everyone, so I thought I'd make my first YouTube video on Blake Griffin's pretty excellent game that he had in Denver versus the Nuggets last Saturday. And so we'll start on offense, where he spends most of his time beyond the three-point line. The Nets really use him as a true stretch five for large chunks of time, especially when the stars and KD and Kyrie are on the court. So the Bucks guarded him like this. You can see his man Giannis in the lane clogging up the driving lane, and they essentially dare him to shoot. Now, Blake was pretty willing to let that one fly, but his aggressiveness in terms of shooting from three has come and gone throughout his time in Brooklyn. And for him to really excel as a stretch five, he's going to need to commit to just letting it fly. That was the mindset that allowed him to have a huge third quarter versus Denver. So these shots aren't always going to go in, but we see him ready to catch and shoot, confidently let it go. He's not distracted by these semi-late closeouts from Nikola Jokic, and he starts out 2 for 2. Now, this is where it opens up the rest of his game. Confident three-point shooting leads to drives like these. Pump fake, Nikola flies by, it's an easy finish. Here, same thing, Nikola, a bit of a lunge, and he goes to a nice reverse finish. Now, Blake can't blow by defenders from a standstill like he used to, but he can definitely attack closeouts from some of the slower centers that he'll be matched up against as a stretch five. And it's the threat of his shot that affords him those opportunities. Elsewhere on offense, though, Blake has been really good at reacting to Kyrie and Kevin Durant getting double teamed. We really saw that when the Raptors were aggressively trapping those two every chance they got, and it continued versus Denver. So here, his man JaMychal Green comes up to double KD, and Blake instinctively cuts to the middle of the floor, and you'll see it creates a 4-on-3 advantage, and that's an easy layup for Blake against a smaller defender. Here, Kyrie gets doubled in the pick and roll, and Blake catches it in a dynamic situation. The defense is scrambling, and he makes a high leverage pass towards the rim for Jeff Green that, while it results in a turnover, it really showcases his ability to attack scrambling defenses with his passing. And now, that passing brings me to my last point on Griffin's offense from this game, which is his ability off the roll. So Blake is already the Nets' smartest roller by far, and that includes his passing. This is a really nice play. He catches it on the move, and he manages not to travel. He manages not to bowl over Austin Rivers for a charge, and he hits Joe Harris right in the shooting pocket for a corner three. He's been running a ton of handoffs with Joe Harris and Landry Shamet, particularly with bench units to get those guys open threes. But he's really quick to recognize opportunities for layups out of these actions. Here, hands it off to Landry, sees that the lane is wide open, and immediately turns, looks for the pass, and it's a fluid 1-2 into a dunk. The thing that will separate him as a roller, that'll really make that a viable option, is how well he can finish around the basket in tougher situations. This play from Milwaukee was really encouraging, sets a screen for KD, and finishes through Lopez with the right hand. He hasn't really had a ton of non-dunk lefty finishes. He oftentimes goes up and, here, I'll get back to it. He oftentimes goes up and finishes with his right hand, kind of twisting his body, using his left shoulder as a shield. But it works a good bit of the time. And if that continues to work, he becomes a really enticing pick and roll or pick and pop option, either off the bench or starting dependent on the matchup. So I'll touch on his defense a little bit versus Denver. He had a strong game, but I don't think it's worth posting all of his one-on-ones with Jokic. The Joker won his fair share of those good defense, better offense type situations, and the Nets mostly left him on an island. But there were a couple plays that really stood out as good ones, this one in particular. So he forces Jokic towards the baseline. Landry Shamet and the rest of the Nets do a good job in help. Jokic, as he's wont to do, makes a ridiculous pass to the cutter, but Blake gets off the ground quickly, and they call that a foul, but replay showed that's a poor call. But that's just a great second effort to protect the rim. DeAndre Jordan's been their best rim protector by the numbers all year, but that's an area that he really struggles with, those second efforts. And you can just see the awareness and the quick thinking from Blake, who's in a complete standstill as Jokic starts to whip this pass around, get up and protect the rim. Now, they're going to switch him mostly, but if he can offer anything in the way of help side rim protection, or if they don't switch, if he can be a force around the basket as he was there, that really increases his, playoff profile. The one thing with Blake, and we saw it come up a couple times versus the Nuggets, is that he can really have some flat-footed moments, and he doesn't have the explosive quick twitch ability that he once did to recover. So here, he's kind of in a drop. He's meeting Austin Rivers off the screen, but his feet are just so flat. And Austin Rivers gives him a little in-and-out cross, and Blake is dusted, and it's an easy layup. We see it on closeouts as well. Blake gets into a flat-footed position right there, and he's just kind of unable to recover and provide any sort of resistance to Jokic, who does miss the floater, but it's an offensive rebound. Overall, though, really nice game for Blake Griffin, who showed that he can be a 30-minute, maybe not per game guy in the playoffs, but there are going to be matchups where if he's shooting the ball confidently as he was here, if he's active defensively, if he's making his teammates better, which he can do, he can get those 30 minutes and contribute really positively. That pickup just continues to look better and better by the week from Sean Marks and the rest of the Nets front office. So thank you guys for watching. Blake Griffin still pretty good. Good news for Nets fans.